one of our panelists from our next session, which is very fascinating about smart cities and IoT, has to leave, and there's certain points. I'm going to bring him up and talk to the other two panelists later. We're going to have a 10-minute. We're turning this into a fireside chat, and you want to hear from him. He's from the the CITC, the Communications and Information Technology Commission here of Saudi Arabia. He is Dr. Khalid Alshatheri. See, I did that well. Please welcome Dr. Khalid. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Actually, I'm working for CITC, which is the Communication and IT Commission, which is the regulator for the IT and telecom sector. Previous to 2018, CITC was focusing mainly on the IT market and telecom market. By that time, CITC member 4, they have decided that previously, the IT market, the telecom market, they are serving themselves. With the emerging technologies, with the blockchain, with the AI, with the IoT, now they are serving other sectors. We have some of my extinguished colleagues here, they have mentioned, blockchain for banking, blockchain for identity, blockchain for, medical records. So now the IT, they are serving different industries. So as a telecom and IT regulator, does CITC needs to change their mentality and change, their type of vision to include such technologies? By that time, CITC decided that we have to have, a new department that is going to be focusing on the emerging technologies, how CITC is going to approach regulating and motivating the adoption of those technologies. This is the history of why CITC, the telecom, the IT regulator, decided to jump in to the emerging technologies. And one of the prominent technology we do have here is the blockchain.
Great. So let's talk about one of the projects you've already been involved with, which is a metering system here in the kingdom. Tell us about that and what you've been metering with blockchain.
Sure. By 2018, CITC, they have reached to Ministry of Energy as well as the Saudi Electrical Company. We have discussed, for several years that we have to use the emerging technology, one of the major one, which is the IoT, for their, purposes. We have decided that the best one to use the IoT is to have the smart metering. That most of the countries now, they are measuring the consumption of the electricity, by the employees. They are visiting the premise of the customer and they, just recording the consumption. The idea here is that why don't we use the IoT to replace those, meters? And we are going to use the smart meters for different purposes. It's not just measuring the consumption. Once we are going to record the measuring, then we can play with the systems and develop new cases. So our colleagues here, they have mentioned create new use cases. This is the challenge here. It's not just using the technology, the blockchain or IoT or AI. It's about the use case that is going to run on top of the systems that you are going to use. So we have worked with energy organizations to have or to operate this project starting from 2019. The challenge is that 2020 and 2019 was the year of the pandemic, COVID-19. So we have a major decision to make. Are we going to have, or are we going to execute this project during this year? Or no, we are going to postpone this project until, the pandemic is gone. So we had, a major decision that nothing is going to stop the system, Saudi Arabia, to deploy such emerging technology, which is IoT, for the AAC or the SAC project. So we have worked this, which is 10 million smart meters have been replaced starting by June 2019. in 1 year, we have completed this project. So by June 2020, we have installed 10 million smart meters. And it's not just installing the smart meters, it's building the ecosystem or the system that is going to cooperate or integrate with the smart meters. It was a great success for CITC, MCIT, the Ministry of Energy, Saudi Electrical Company. It was a great journey, and personally I have learned a lot from this experience.
Now that you have all these smart meters deployed, collecting and sending data, what are use cases you're envisioning that take advantage of blockchain? Why blockchain as opposed to a private database? Like, what advantages might you get?
So, blockchain actually it's about building a trust between parties. They know nothing about each other.
Right.
So we have, multiple use cases and multiple, interactions with, personal, either persons or entities they am not aware of. So how to make sure that this guy is, or this entity is a legitimate one.
Correct.
It's not a fraud. It's not. They want to guarantee this, the safety, the privacy, etc. with this transaction. With the current systems, I'm not able to have this, function.
Right.
Or to build the trust, I need time with the other, entity or organization. With the blockchain, now I can trust everybody. Just join the network, the blockchain network, the BSV or any other network. Then I'm going to be in a good shape to start the transaction with the other entities.
Great. So verifiability and trust, right? Yep. Authenticity. Let's move to a second topic. Tell us some things CITC is doing on the regulatory or policy front, or at least looking at in terms of preparing for a future of blockchain. What are some policy issues that are being confronted?
It's a good question, actually. We have a challenge here as a CITC. Do we need to jump in from today and start regulating the blockchain? I'll tell you about our IoT exercise. We have started, discussing among CITC, do we need by 2016 to start regulating the IoT? So at that time, our decision, it's not the proper time. We have to leave it for the market forces to run, to try themselves, and to continue just motivation. So this exercise continued for about 3 years. By 2019, we have received so many requests from the investors. They said, well, it's time to make it more transparent market, and please, we want to see CITC regulation. So by 2019, we have decided to publish an IoT framework that is going to be regulating the IoT. Now for the blockchain, we are in the keep watching process. Do we need to regulate the blockchain from today? Now we are running our annual process. Reviewing, I think by the end of this year, we are going to have the first blockchain, regulation, I believe in the Middle East, I'm not sure. Georgi just mentioned that there is HIPAA in the States, and I know that there are multiple nations who started, reviewing, do they need to jump in and regulate? I believe that we are going to have our first regulation for blockchain by the end of this year.
Okay, great. And as a longtime former technology and IP lawyer, I actually look forward to that. I think it actually, some people are afraid of regulation, but I think it provides guidance and clarity that's needed to grow an industry. And I think there's not been comprehensive blockchain policy from countries, so we look forward to this kingdom perhaps leading the way. Final question. Tell us about any other blockchain type initiatives or projects that we may be seeing soon in the kingdom for any of the mega projects that may be coming here.
As a CITC, we have started, internal process. Is there any systems that we can utilize the blockchain to serve? is there any challenges that we can utilize the blockchain to be useful for? The first one that we have now, we are working on, I think it's going to become, is going to be up and running by end of this year, which is, how to solve the SMS fraud. So we have, I'm pretty sure that all of us, we have received so many SMSs,
Yes.
From different countries. They are, some of them from our country, most of them, they are outside. So how to solve those SMSs, those illegitimate SMSs, fraud SMSs? The solution that CITC is working on is to use a blockchain with multiple vendors, with multiple parties to block such SMSs to be reaching to the users. So this is an internal exercise among CITC how to deploy blockchain. Now, for the industry itself, we have multiple cooperation with multiple government entities to investigate deploying, utilizing the blockchain, in their, systems. We are working with the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Energy, and two other ministries I want to avoid convincing to make sure that the use case is clear for everybody. There are multiple factors that everybody needs to make sure before getting to the blockchain or to any IT market. You have asked about the smart meter project. There are factors that we want to make sure that they are available before starting any project with any other governmental entity. The first one, which is the most important one, is that the belief or the identification of the problem and the challenge, right, and the belief on the change. The emerging technologies, blockchain, one of them, it's critical to be, commercialized or to be, up and running. The users, the beneficiaries, they have to realize the benefit, the value of the blockchain. It's emerging technology. It's not a traditional technology. So the traditional technologies everybody knows of. So 4G or 2G or 5G, everybody knows about the value of such technologies. However, blockchain, it's really hard to understand. Right. So if for example, the Ministry of Health, if they don't see the use case that one of our colleagues here mentioned, what is the value of using blockchain rather than the traditional systems, then they will never adopt such technology. So the most critical one is that we have to make sure that those customers, those beneficiaries, they believe on the opportunity and how to use or how to achieve this opportunity using the blockchain. The other thing is that because they are emerging technology, we have to make sure that we are aligned with the higher management of that customer, for example, the Ministry of Health. Without their support, without their involvement, I'm pretty sure our project, the success of our project is not going to exceed 50%. So we want to make sure that the involvement of the higher management. The other thing is that those beneficiaries, we need to make sure that their internal systems, our colleague here, Ahmed, he mentioned that, or Muhammad, he mentioned that we have to upgrade the internal systems of such entities. Because, the blockchain or the IoT, they are not going to, operate, in a standalone island. They are going to be integrated with different systems. So we want to make sure that the other systems, they are, up to the level of the services or the use cases that we are looking for.
Great. I think that's some fantastic advice, and I want to thank you for taking time to stay and have this conversation. I hope you found that insightful. I did, and by the way, I must say our delegation appreciated having the opportunity to meet at the CITC office yesterday with a lot of your colleagues working on blockchain. And I must confess, as someone who speaks with government representatives all over the world, you have one of the most knowledgeable blockchain teams I've seen, and it's clear that you're doing a lot of things to try projects and pushing the boundaries forward. So we look for a lot of exciting developments from CITC in the future.
Thank you so
All
much.
right.
I really appreciate it.
All right, let's give Dr. Khalid a warm round of applause. Let's start with from Germany, from Frankfurt. He is the managing director of a company called Stabilwerk, as well as a tech company called P2P Software, Dr. Maximillian Sinan Korkmaz, and my jolly friend from the UAE, Dubai, but from all over the world. He'll tell you about his whole life history. He is the chairman of multiple companies he'll tell you about, including a company called Yalla Limited and a very fascinating company called PalmFusion, Dereck Hoogenkamp. Please give them a round of applause. Okay, so we're here to talk about all things construction, IoT, and smart city. We're going to start with Maximilian, and I need some microphones up here. I'll get them over here. Maximilian, tell us about your experience in the construction industry, and in particular, how you are now taking that to the blockchain world.
Hello, everybody. My name is Maximillian Korkmaz. I'm the managing director of P2P Software, a company based in Frankfurt, Germany. As Jimmy has mentioned, I have a construction company, Stabilwerk, also in Frankfurt, Germany. I have been doing this job. I'm a civil engineer. I'm working in the construction industry for 17 years now. And I learned the hard way that the construction industry is broken. I waited. Nobody tried to fix it. At least nobody managed to fix it. And then I decided to do it myself. I have founded a startup to work on the problems in the construction industry. I have discovered blockchain, and I have realized that many problems, many issues in the construction industry can be solved utilizing blockchain. We are currently building a construction app. The name of the app is Bau app. Bau means construction in German, so it's basically a construction app. It's a super app encompassing several features that could have been separate apps. That is actually the definition of super app. Some of the examples of our features are that we enable payments using smart contracts, especially for small companies, small construction companies, subcontractors with 4 or 5 construction workers. This is very important because they need to get their cash flow going. And it's not always easy to do that if they do not know if they will get their money and when they will get their money. So smart contracts solve this problem, and we do this on the BSV blockchain. Using smart contracts, it's pre-programmed, and when the job is done, when the subcontractor or the contractor has completed their job, they receive their money directly. So that they know beforehand that they will actually receive their money, and when they do their job, they will receive their money. This is one of the features. Another feature would be a project database where the stakeholders of construction projects can find each other for projects. So a subcontractor goes to this project database. It's basically a project board, and looks for projects to join and applies. If the general contractor accepts, they are in the project, and then they run the project on Bau app. I mean, the construction project management aspects of the construction projects will be run on Bau app by all stakeholders of construction projects. The contract is also signed and stored on the blockchain. With this, we would like to solve the disputes in the construction industry, especially using Internet of Things, IoT, getting data from devices that are embedded in structures and machines. We will achieve to have a single source of truth where we can get the data afterwards if there is a dispute at the end of the construction project. Construction projects end up in court more often than not. So usually there's a dispute, and we would like to solve this issue. And if we already, store the data on the blockchain, which is an immutable data ledger, the stakeholders of the project will already know that it's there, it cannot be changed, it cannot be tampered. That's why this incentivizes honesty in construction projects as well. We have also other features. Such
Why
as
don't you hold those, and I'll come back to you on the other features so that we can hear from Dereck a bit. So Dereck, before we get to your particular companies, tell the audience a bit about your crazy life experience across many industries, especially real estate, because it's going to inform why you ended up in blockchain.
So, hello everyone. Thank you, Jimmy, and thank you, BSV Blockchain, to be here. And I'm happy to be back here in Riyadh and soon in Jeddah. I love Saudi Arabia, and I mean, I've been in real estate for a long time, very long time. Even when I was a kid, when I grew up in the Caribbean, then I was already in real estate. I lived in a tent in Tanzania, and between the animals, I was scouting luxury tented camps. I was doing backpacker hotel chains. I was doing 5-star hotel chains. I was doing express models. I was creating new destinations from Africa to Asia to Europe. And then at a certain point, I ended up in the Middle East, working mainly on projects like Al Barari and like Bloom Holding and like Jumeirah Golf Estate and like other projects all around the world, including Thailand, Malaysia, Holland, Spain, everywhere. And then at a certain point, I know how to create a new destination. I know how to get all the brands. I know how to do everything. And then I thought, oh wow, we need something unique, right? Because always when I sell something or build something or create something, it has to be unique. So what is unique? Technology, metaverse. Metaverse is unique. Biometrics inside is unique. Things people don't really use. I mean, I think smart homes is already old. I even like to call smart cities conscious cities. Not even smart anymore. Conscious is the right word, in my opinion, because you have to get the spiritualism and the nature and the technology all together. It should be all together. And then, of course, the blockchain, right? Because the blockchain is how you can solve a lot of trust, transparency, and a lot of seamlessness for the real estate projects. So that's why I started to create Yalla Properties and Yalla Limited. And that's how I got into this space.
So tell us about PalmFusion, because we're going to see a couple of video demonstrations of it.
Yeah, so one of them is, for example, if you do a project, you have you need special technologies, right, which can run on blockchain also. For example, I'm chairman of PalmFusion Technologies. So PalmFusion Technologies is something very unique. It is the palm of your hand. I scan the veins inside your hand. I scan the print of your hand, and I scan the geometrics of your hand. These three are fully patented and IP'd worldwide. It is GDPR compliant, it is fully PSD2 compliant, it is fully COVID compliant, fully contactless, and it's one of the only in and outside biometrics in the world, without intrusion. So what do you use it for? Your hand is your access control. Your hand is your electronic ID. Your hand is your payment system. So what does it mean? Your hand is your key. Your hand is your passport. Your hand is your ID. Your hand is your everything. Is your even your wallet.
Your wallet.
So without any intrusion, no chips inside, nothing, with real life verification, and a really in and outside solution, which is really unique. And this is for me the future. Because if you look at the EU, for example, European Union, GDPR is a big thing. Right? This is GDPR compliant. Same, we solve all this, and then you have to be, of course, on the blockchain with several of the features around it or the feature itself.
I'm going to ask you later how you scan my veins, but 'cause that's a little creepy, Dereck. But here's a quick video.
So here you see that they're scanning the product in the supermarket, right? And then she sees, she asks, how do you want to pay, right? And then he says, I want to pay by palm. So then it's very simple. He puts his palm on the time of flight camera, and that's it. So 1 split second, you're paid. You don't need to swipe your card, you swipe your hand. Then he gets his receipt, physical receipt, and he gets his receipt on his phone.
Now tell us what Secure ID is and how it relates to PalmFusion.
Yeah, so we have the PalmFusion company, which is now a Swedish company, and the access control. Here you see some access control. This is the old version, right? Now it's like really small, and it goes even to a chip. Zero failure, zero downtime. Before you had to lay your hand, now it's completely contactless. And now it can be between even restarting cars. Now it can be within a few centimeters up to 20 centimeters. And also it's being used a lot in education. So imagine you can, with your hand, when you're 70, you can see in your own database what you were drawing when you were 5 years old by scanning your hand. This is for lockers in the gym, for example. So you can imagine that you can integrate it everywhere, right? And this is really, really unique. And this is the access control one, and the access control one is the most easiest application, right? Of course, with Palm Pay, we go a little bit further because you connect your wallet with it and you go a bit further. And then, of course, with electronic ID, it even goes one step further because you have a lot of more regulation.
All right, fantastic, fascinating. And we're going to ask you in a second how you integrate with blockchain. What I'm showing you all now is not currently on the blockchain, but it is a animated image of the road gantry system in Singapore, which uses IoT devices as cars, vehicles go in and out of Singapore to track, for example, the identity of drivers on the road, whether you are actually driving an electric vehicle versus a non-electric vehicle, so that the city-state can incentivize more environmental sustainable vehicles, and it generates lots of data, 160,000 trips per hour, 4 million trips a day, 1.4 billion trips a year, lots of data that, isn't now, but certainly could be managed on a blockchain. I think this is the kind of future of mass mega data usage, as well as the combination with the transfer of value to incentivize conscious, behavior, as you said. Maximillian, let's go back to you. First of all, what do you think of PalmFusion? How might you deploy that in the construction industry?
It's a very interesting technology. It can have some applications on site to determine which site workers, which employees are actually on the site, and when they come, when they leave. This is not only an HR, a matter of human resources, but also construction site safety.
Right. You can log and track who's coming in and out quickly, and log that data to the blockchain, for example, or control who accesses a construction site.
Yes. I'm sure there might be some other applications too, but this is what I can think of right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be, for example, what is one of our partners is Dormakaba, which have all the robotics, or the machines, right? And there should be certain people who operate those machines. Those machines cannot be operated by everyone. It is certain people, and that is where you can use the Palm integration scanner really a lot.
All right.
That's also on the construction side, and of course with the use of blockchain everywhere, right?
Could you code machines to not actually turn on if it's not activated by the right Palm? Interesting.
And even it has to be alive, the Palm.
Right. And that's good for access control, right? To secure buildings or secure areas. Maximillian, you were going to mention a couple of the other features of your super app?
Yes. One of the features of BAO app I would like to mention is the circular construction marketplace. Circular construction aims to get the most of the construction materials from the construction materials, because construction materials account for the majority of the carbon dioxide emissions in the world. And for sustainability, we would like to promote circular construction, and reuse is one of the practices in circular construction. And in our circular construction marketplace, reuse of materials and components from demolished structures will be possible. Companies, government agencies, and individuals will be able to buy and sell peer-to-peer construction materials that from the demolished structures. I mean, it's not only about buildings, but we should think about dams, roads, bridges, all kinds of structures. I mean, this is certainly the first application using blockchain, but there's one company who's trying to do this in Germany, but they're doing this actually on paper. They go to the construction site and write everything on paper, and of course this is not scalable. It's very difficult. I can't imagine they can scale. We can scale this on blockchain, and this can actually change the way we are building, because the construction industry is responsible of a huge amount of carbon dioxide emissions. And especially in Europe, where I live in Germany, the government is incentivizing sustainability, and I think circular economy in general and circular construction in particular will be one of the most prominent concepts of the coming decade.
Okay. All right, we'll wrap up with Dereck. So Dereck, why use blockchain and not a private database? What are the advantages you're looking to get out of having some type of your PalmFusion data on blockchain?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's trust. I think it's transparency. It's traceability. It is, it's obvious, right? Especially if you're gonna work with electronic ID, the data is so sensitive and it's so important then to use blockchain. There's just no, in my opinion, no better solution than blockchain for that. I mean, if you talk access control and you do a centralized server in a building, it's different, right? But you will need the blockchain for the Palm Pay, right? And you will need the blockchain for the Palm ID, because otherwise it's just not trustable. It's not secure. It's just impossible. It is possible, but blockchain, for example, the BSV, would be a really good solution for those problems. I mean, to work seamlessly, fast, efficient, trust, transparent, traceable. That's blockchain, right?
Yeah. All right. Last question. How do you scan my veins?
Okay, I use a time-of-flight camera and other secret stuff, which we have patented.
Okay.
And it's absolutely non-intrusive and fully contactless. So it is fantastic. So, but I can read your mind also.
Yes, so Dereck can read minds and scan veins. Please give a round of applause to Dereck and Dr. Maximillian for their contribution.